What would you do if one day you could no longer care for yourself? Would you immediately turn to a nursing home, or would you seek out other possibilities? Aging is a natural part of life, but the way we approach it doesn't have to be the same for everyone. Many assume that moving into a nursing home is the only option when independence begins to fade. But that's not always the case. In today's video, we're sharing 6 remarkable stories of older adults who chose alternative paths and redefined what it means to age gracefully. From adventurous retirees to tech-savvy seniors, these inspiring individuals prove that with the right mindset and support, you can continue to live with independence, purpose, and joy, no matter your age. So if you've ever wondered whether there are other options besides traditional nursing homes, stick around. You won't want to miss the valuable life lessons ahead. Number 1, Story 1, Meet Grandpa Joe, an 85-year-old with an unstoppable spirit and a deep love for his independence. For as long as his family can remember, Joe has been an early riser, starting his day with a brisk morning walk, tending to his garden, and unwinding in the afternoons with a favorite book. As the years went by, his family grew concerned. His health wasn't as strong as before, and they suggested moving him into a nursing home where he'd have constant care. But Joe wasn't ready to give up the life he cherished. He valued his daily walks through the neighborhood, the friendly faces at the local cafe, and the familiarity of his own home. Despite his family's worries, Joe stood firm. He understood his physical limitations, but believed they didn't have to take away his freedom. With a little support, whether through occasional home care visits or regular check-ins from family, he knew he could continue living on his own terms, embracing each day just as he always had. Joe's story offers a powerful reminder that independence is something worth holding on to, no matter how old you are. While aging brings its own set of challenges, it doesn't mean you have to give up your identity or the freedom to live life on your own terms. Sometimes, a little support from family, friends, or the community is all it takes to help you remain in the place where you feel happiest. Grandpa Joe may have needed some extra assistance, but he showed that with the right approach, maintaining independence is absolutely possible. His journey proves that moving into a nursing home isn't the only option. There are always alternatives if you're willing to explore them and prioritize what truly matters to you. Number 2, Story 2, The Unexpected Choice of a Retired Teacher. Let me introduce you to Mrs. Hargrove, a retired teacher in her 70s who dedicated decades to shaping young minds. As she started planning for the next chapter of her life, she knew she didn't want to follow the usual path of moving into a nursing home. Instead, she made a bold choice. She relocated to a lively retirement community, one that was completely different from anything she had imagined before. At first, her family was skeptical. They worried she was making the wrong decision, unsure why she would leave the comfort of her longtime neighborhood for an unfamiliar place. But just a few months later, it became clear that Mrs. Hargrove had made one of the best choices of her life. Not only did she find a community of like-minded individuals who shared her passions, but she also discovered new ways to stay engaged. She began teaching knitting classes, something she had always loved but never had time for while working full-time. The joy of sharing her skills with others gave her a renewed sense of purpose, bringing a fresh excitement into her daily life. Mrs. Hargrove wasn't just getting by, she was truly thriving. Her story reminds us of a valuable lesson. Finding the right community can bring fresh energy and a renewed sense of purpose. As we grow older, it's easy to feel the urge to withdraw. But Mrs. Hargrove's journey proves that surrounding yourself with people who understand your needs and share your interests can help you continue to flourish. Instead of settling into isolation or assuming a nursing home is the only choice, seek out places where you can connect, contribute, and build meaningful relationships. It's never too late to find a community that brings joy, support, and fulfillment. Mrs. Hargrove found hers, and now she's living proof that some of the best years of life can still be ahead. Number 3, Story 3, The 92-Year-Old Explorer. Now, let me introduce you to Mr. Thompson, a 92-year-old who refuses to slow down. While many his age might prefer a quiet and comfortable life at home, Mr. Thompson had a different vision for his golden years. Instead of settling in one place, he chose a life of adventure, traveling the world alongside his daughter. From strolling through the streets of Paris to hiking across the Italian countryside and exploring ancient ruins in Greece, Mr. Thompson seized every opportunity to embrace new experiences. But what makes his journey even more remarkable is how he traveled, not through luxury cruises or guided tours, but in a way that truly immersed him in different cultures. He opted for small apartments and cozy hotels, choosing to live like a true explorer rather than just a tourist. By stepping outside his comfort zone, Mr. Thompson proved that age is no barrier to adventure and that life's greatest experiences can still be waiting, no matter how old you are. These weren't just trips to cross off a bucket list. They were real adventures, the kind Mr. Thompson had always dreamed of, but never had the time for in his younger years. Now, at 92, he's turning those dreams into reality, proving that age is no obstacle to living life to the fullest. Mr. Thompson's story teaches us a valuable lesson. Age is just a number. Growing older doesn't mean you have to give up on adventure or stop seeking new experiences. In fact, for many, later years bring more freedom and flexibility to explore the world in ways they never could before. His journey is a reminder that it's never too late to challenge yourself, embrace excitement, and create unforgettable memories. Whether you're 92 or 32, there's always room for more adventure, if you're willing to take that first step. Number 4. Story 4. The Tech-Savvy Grandma. Let me introduce you to Grandma Ruth, an inspiring woman in her 80s who refused to let age limit her independence. Though she could no longer manage everything on her own, she had no desire to move into a nursing home. Instead, she turned to technology to maintain her freedom, something many people her age might find overwhelming. Determined to stay in her home, Grandma Ruth decided to adapt, and with a little guidance from her grandchildren, she quickly became comfortable using smartphones, tablets, and smart home devices. She set up a voice-controlled system to adjust the lights, lock the doors, and regulate the thermostat, all with simple commands. Whenever she needed assistance, she could easily contact family members or her doctor with just a tap. But what truly made a difference was how technology helped her stay connected to the people she loved. Instead of feeling isolated, Grandma Ruth used modern tools to bridge the gap, proving that embracing change can lead to a life of continued independence and meaningful connections. Grandma Ruth used video calls to stay in touch with her family, watch her great-grandchildren grow up from afar, and even join in on family game nights right from her living room. Her story teaches us an important lesson. Technology can be a powerful tool for independence. Rather than letting age dictate her limits, she embraced the resources available to her, allowing her to stay in control of her life and nurture her relationships. Grandma Ruth proved that no matter your age, technology can serve as a bridge to the world around you, keeping you engaged, connected, and self-sufficient. So don't be afraid to explore new technology. It might just be the key to maintaining your independence and living life on your own terms. Number 5. Story 5. The Gardener Who Kept Growing. Let's talk about Mr. Clark, a devoted gardener who at 79 was facing a difficult reality. His body could no longer keep up with the demands of his once vast and flourishing garden. For years, he had nurtured a beautiful space filled with vibrant flowers, fresh vegetables, and towering trees, and it had always been his greatest passion. As time went on, the physical work became more challenging, and his family feared he would have to give up gardening entirely. They assumed that with his health declining, he would have no choice but to let go of the hobby he loved so much. But Mr. Clark had no intention of stopping. Instead of giving up, he chose to adapt. He downsized his garden, creating a smaller, more manageable space filled with plants that required less maintenance but still brought him joy. By making adjustments that suited his abilities, he found a way to continue doing what he loved on his own terms. His new garden was just as beautiful, only more manageable. With fewer plants to care for, he found peace in the simplicity of his work, and his smaller garden still brought him joy and a deep sense of fulfillment. His family was amazed to see how much he thrived with this new approach. Mr. Clark's story teaches us an important lesson. Simplicity can be just as rewarding. Growing older doesn't mean letting go of what you love. It's about adjusting and finding new ways to enjoy your passions. Whether it's gardening, painting, or any other hobby, you don't have to stop doing what brings you happiness. By embracing a more practical version of his garden, Mr. Clark proved that sometimes less is more. Aging isn't about giving up. It's about adapting and making the most of every chapter in life. Number 6. The home that held a legacy. Now, let me tell you about Mildred, an 84-year-old woman who made a choice that might surprise some. She decided to stay in the home she had lived in for over 50 years. But this wasn't just a house. It was the place where she raised her children, hosted countless family gatherings, and built a lifetime of cherished memories. Despite the challenges that came with aging, Mildred couldn't imagine leaving the home that had been the heart of her family for so long. Her children suggested a nursing home, but she wasn't ready to say goodbye to the familiar comfort of the place she loved. Instead of moving, Mildred found a way to make it work. She arranged for family members to check in on her regularly, ensuring she had the support she needed while staying in the home that meant so much to her. Whether it was weekly visits from her daughter or her grandchildren, stopping by after school, she remained connected to the people who mattered most. The walls of her home held decades of memories, giving her a sense of security and continuity that no nursing home could replace. Mildred's story reminds us of an important truth. Home is where the heart is. Sometimes as we grow older, the best place to be isn't somewhere new or unfamiliar, but right where we've built a lifetime of memories, surrounded by the comfort and love that make us feel safe. Aging doesn't always mean leaving behind the place where your life's journey has unfolded. For Mildred, staying in her home wasn't just a choice. It was a way to honor her family's legacy and hold on to the deep sense of belonging she had always known. Her story is a beautiful reminder that the right place for you in your later years might just be the place that has been home all along. Conclusion. As these 6 incredible stories have shown, aging doesn't mean letting go of the things that bring us happiness, independence, or a sense of purpose. Whether it's adjusting to new circumstances, embracing technology, or staying close to family, there are countless ways to continue living life on your own terms, no matter your age. Thank you for watching. I'd love to hear from you. If you connected with any of these stories or have your own experiences to share, drop on none all in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more inspiring content. Until next time, take care and keep making the most of every moment.